Today's story comes from the book of 2 Kings, chapter 4, verses 8 through 37. The title of today's story is Elisha Restores the Shunamite's Child. Greetings, I am your host, Cheryl Secrest, and this is E.M.A.N, effectively making a noise. Having helped the poor widow to save her sons, Elisha was in turn helped himself by a wealthy and generous woman of Shunem. One day he went to Shunem, a town situated some 3 miles northeast of Jezreel and about 16 miles from Mount Carmel. A certain rich woman who lived there received him into her home and gave him food to eat. Elisha continued to stop there whenever he passed by, and the good woman always fed him. One day the woman said to her husband concerning Elisha, "Behold, I perceive," and perceive means to understand or find out, "that this is a holy man of God, who is continually passing by our house. Let us make a little room, and put there for him a bed, a table, a stool, and a candlestick, so that the next time he comes to us, he will have a place to stay." Elisha greatly appreciated this kindness, and was glad to stay in her hospitable home whenever he came that way. On a certain day, Elisha came to his comfortable room and lay down there to rest. His servant Gehazi was with him, and he said to Gehazi, "Call the Shunamite woman," and a Shunamite means designated for a woman whose son was raised from the dead. The good woman came and stood before Gehazi. Elisha directed Gehazi to say to her, "Behold, you have shown us all this kindness. What is to be done for you? Would you have a word spoken on your behalf to the king or to the commander of the army?" But she humbly answered, "I live among my own people." By this she meant that she was not asking any special favor for herself in return for her kindness to Elisha and his servant Gehazi. Elisha then said to Gehazi, "What then is to be done for her?" Gehazi replied, "She has no child, and her husband is old." Elisha said, "Call her." Presently the Shunammite woman stood in the doorway, and Elisha said to her, "About this season, when a year has gone by, you shall embrace a son." The woman, greatly amazed, responded, "Oh no, my lord, you man of God, do not lie to your handmaiden." But as the prophet had said to her, the woman conceived, and conceived means mated and started growth of a new baby, and gave birth to a son at that season a year later. A number of years passed, and when the child was grown, he went out one day among the reapers in the field to his father. Suddenly the child became ill, and cried out to his father, "My head, my head!" The father quickly said to one of his men, "Carry him to his mother." The servant lifted the sick child in his arms and carried him into the house to his mother. The little boy sat on his mother's knees until noon, and then he died. The grief-stricken, and grief-stricken means filled with sadness, mother went up and laid him on the bed of the man of God, and shut the door on him, and went out. She then called to her husband and said, "Send me, I pray you, one of your men and one of the asses, so that I may hasten to the man of God and come back again." The husband said, "Why will you go to him today? It is neither new moon nor Sabbath." She replied, "It shall be well." Then she saddled an ass and said to her servant, "Drive quickly, and do not slacken the pace for me until I say to." So she departed on her urgent journey, and presently came to Elisha at Mount Carmel. When the man of God saw her coming, he said to Gehazi, his servant, "Behold, here comes the Shunammite woman. Run now, I pray you, to meet her, and say to her, Is it well with you? Is it well with your husband? Is it well with with the child?" The good woman answered Gehazi, "It is well." And when she came to Elisha, she caught hold of his feet. Gehazi came near to thrust her away, but Elisha said, "Let her alone, for she is sorely distressed," and sorely distressed means very upset. "And the Lord has hidden it from me and has not told me." Then the grieving mother said, "Did I ask my Lord to give me a son? Did I not say, 'Do not deceive me'?" Elisha then said to Gehazi, "Gird your loins, take my staff in your hand, and go your way. If you meet any man, do not greet him, and if any man greets you, do not answer him, and lay my staff upon the face of the child." And the mother of the child said, "As the Lord lives, and as your soul lives, I will not leave you." So Elisha arose and followed her towards Shunem. Gehazi went ahead of them and laid Elisha's staff upon the face of the child, but he heard no sound from it and saw no sign of life. Whereupon Gehazi went back to meet Elisha and told him, "The child has not awakened." When Elisha came into the house, he saw the child laying dead on his bed. He went in and shut the door and prayed to the Lord. And then he went up and lay upon the child and put his mouth upon his mouth, his eyes upon his eyes, and his hands upon his hands. And as he stretched himself upon him, the flesh of the child grew warm. Then he arose, walked to and fro in the house, and then went up and stretched himself upon the child again. Whereupon the child sneezed 7 times and opened his eyes. Then Elisha sent for Gehazi and said, "Call this Shunamite." So Gehazi called the child's mother. And when she came to Elisha, he spoke to her tenderly and said, "Take up your son." The mother came into the room, fell at the feet of the man of God, and bowed herself to the ground. Then, in an ecstasy of joy meaning a feeling of great happiness, she took her son into her arms and went out to tell the child's father. That is the end of our story today. Thank you for listening, and be blessed.